Okay, it was a warm summer day, July 6, 1977. My mother went into labor. Everyone was scared because I was 2 months and 9 days early. That's a little crazy back then. Anyway, so Sam gave the intro, and I call my career and my ending up in Indianapolis a choose your own adventure story, because I had left a career I thought I was going to do my entire life, which was be a college basketball coach, and went back to grad school and got 2 master's degrees at 2 different universities at the same time, which is really weird and strange, but I didn't know what was happening. And then I sent an email to some folks in Indy and said, I'd really love to be a part of the Super Bowl. And they said, great idea, except your resume is weird. So what's a basketball coach going to do in this kind of line of work? So met with some folks, and they said, well, tell us some times you're going to be in Indy, and maybe we can get together and chat about it. So, of course, I made fake days when I was going to be in Indy. 6 or 7 of them, outlined them, came up, and met with my soon-to-be boss, Mel Raines, who is now, she was our Vice President of Event Operations and Government Relations for the Super Bowl Host Committee. She now serves as the Chief of Staff for Congresswoman Susan Brooks, and it's fun for me because I consider her the most brilliant woman I've ever met and worked for. And to have the same title is weird because I should never have the same title that she does. Anyway, we met, and she said, well, we don't really have any positions, but we might talk about an internship. And I said, oh, that's awesome. So I went back to Bloomington. My parents called. They're like, what's going on? I'm like, well, I talked to the Super Bowl Host Committee about an unpaid internship. My mother goes, Jeremiah, you're 33. Yeah, I know, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. It's gonna be awesome, seriously, it's gonna be awesome. So they offered me an internship. 3 weeks into the internship, I was offered an intern, which is really awesome. So I had an intern working for an intern, and then by week 6, as an intern for the host committee, I was hired on, the 12th person hired on to the full-time staff. And had you asked me in 2008, when I left college basketball, that I was going to work and help execute arguably the greatest Super Bowl in the history of the event, I would have told you you were batshit crazy. Sorry, YouTube. So I did, and it was awesome, and it was one of the most fulfilling career experiences I've ever had. I thought coaching was going to be that, but that's what drew me to Indy, and I commuted for 6 months. It's probably why I actually moved here, because that's a pain in the butt to commute from Bloomington for 6 months. And we did Super Bowl, we dominated it, and then we were all fired. So, which is what happens in the event world. We weren't really fired, but the company no longer existed, so we're arguably fired, right? What's my time, Sam? Like 30 seconds?
Keep going, we're fascinating.
Okay. Go on. So toward the end of Super Bowl planning, when we're all running around not sleeping, not eating, not doing anything, but worried about how we're going to move people around the city, which was what Sam was worried about, and she was concerned that we were changing her routes, and we were taking off bus signals, and we weren't allowing them to drive down Pennsylvania, all these things from an Indigo perspective. People were asking, well, what are you doing afterwards? And we didn't have time to worry about it, because we were asked to put on this event. And as we hired more and more people, our senior team said, don't worry about the jobs, because if you're worrying about jobs after the event, we're not going to do a good job for Indianapolis, and this is our one shot. So we really had that civic pride to make sure we didn't screw this thing up. And I think that was really important for us, and it really allowed us to attach to folks that were making a difference in the city, which is, as Sam mentioned, I met Molly and Carissa and Sam through that process, and these are people that are engaged in the community, care about it, and want to make it great, which is what we were trying to do just from a small little football game. So as we finished the end of the event, I was walking down the hallway eating one of my 37 meals, because I eat a lot of food, and a person from the mayor's office was in our building, and he stopped me and said, what are you doing after Super Bowl? I said, I haven't even thought about it. I'll probably take a nap. And he said, well, we have to find a way to keep you in Indianapolis, because we can't let you leave. I said, all right, that's fair, whatever, we'll talk about it. Molly may not remember this, but shortly after Super Bowl, I called her and said, let's meet for coffee because I don't know what's going to happen. So we met and talked about random things. I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, I'd like to stay, but I don't know. What should I do? And we just walked around those things. And then what ultimately happened was a woman who worked for me as a volunteer for Super Bowl was promoted in the city to a director's position, Director Lori Miser. She was formerly the executive director of the MPO. She was my co-chair for the Transportation and Parking Committee for Super Bowl. She called and said, I'd like you to come work for me at DPW. And I said, well, that's great, but I have no clue what DPW does. And she said, it's okay, I just need your brain. And I said, go on. So I ended up with the city, and I don't know what's going to happen next, but I think that one of the questions was, what do you love about it? I think it's that engagement that we're able to get. One of the things that really fascinated me about the Super Bowl process is, one, we're a really big small town. Everybody knows everybody. But two, if we get people in the right positions to think about things in a different way, we can make some pretty interesting bedfellows. Whereas there are groups and organizations that don't necessarily talk to each other on a daily basis. I consider that one of the legacies that we had out of Super Bowl 46 that wasn't there before, and I hear rumblings of people having conversations with folks that they never would have before, whether it's individuals, private sector folks, or nonprofits, and engaging in ways that they were never able to previously. And we were kind of the conduit to that, which is really fun. Because we were able to launch some things around the city that wouldn't have happened without Super Bowl. So that's it. Here I am. I haven't been fired yet. It won't be long. I've been fired before. There are two kinds of people in this world, those that have been fired and those that will be. Don't forget it. And don't forget it. Anne's the newest member of the Indy Hub team. So I'm just letting her know that this is not, guaranteed. But that's my short story about coming to Indianapolis. It's been awesome. I love this town. I live a couple blocks away. I'm moving closer to downtown in April, so I plan on being here for a minute. We're doing great things at the city, I think. You could tell me otherwise. I don't care. Call your counselor. And then we're going to go after Super Bowl 52, and hopefully all of you will be a part of that as well when we get that awarded, and we'll see what's next from there. Do we take questions, Sam, or no?
Do whatever you want. I was going to ask you where you live. If you just mentioned that you live over here, and then if you're really closer.
Yeah, that's a boring question. How about fun questions? I don't know. This guy's known me since I was 10 years old.
Have you ever been on television?
I have.
Have you ever been on a national commercial?
Joey.
How many parking spots did you have to find 6 months before the game?
Well, some of that's confidential, but over 30,000 parking spots were required for Super Bowl. So the guy in the corner, they came to heckle me. That's my college roommate and best friend. We met when we were 8 years old, and that's his younger brother, Joe. So they like to, give pot shots. I didn't know they were coming until a few minutes ago. Awesome. So any other fun questions, or you guys don't care? Wah, wah, wah.
What was the commercial?
I was in a NutraSweet commercial my freshman year of college with Coach Knight. I was a basketball manager for the IU basketball team back in the day. Here's the super secret thing. So we sent a book to a publisher yesterday from basketball managers during Coach Knight's time in his 29 years at Indiana. All of the proceeds will be going to charity. So when that hits bookshelves in roughly 1 month's time, I expect all of you to buy it. My chapter's obviously the best. So flip there first.
Wait a second, you went to Coach Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, wow.
Another
That's
storytelling event.
That's a different Jabberwocky. That's me.
It's another Jabberwocky. See, I didn't know how to say that word until they said it 15 times at the start of this thing. I was like, Jabberflugenstruben? What? I don't know what this thing is. So I just hit forward. Anything else? Yes, I did work for Coach Knight. He is awesome. Most generous and caring man I've ever been around in my life. And if I could be half the person he is when I grow up, I'll be doing well. I'm in no hurry, trust me. I act like I'm 12. Okay, next.
See, you're